What's up, everybody? Welcome to our first look at Stranded Alien Dawn, currently in early access on Steam. It is a survival civilization management sim. Having a lot of fun with it so far, so please come in, take a look, and as always, thanks for watching. All right, everyone, here we go. Stranded Alien Dawn. Super excited about this game. Again, early access, it's on Steam. So if you like what you see here, check it out. You get to start with 4 survivors, so you get to look through, take a look at their stats, their skills, their traits, their relationships. Choose what you think is a good starting 4 for maybe how you want to concentrate and get through the game in the early stages. Whether you want to concentrate on construction, cooking, farming, maybe you want to do a little bit of everything. Maybe you want to make sure you have someone who's good at combat, someone who can maybe research stuff quicker with the high intellect. Maybe you just want someone with some high physical skills that can haul stuff around. So you make that choice, you start to crash. That is the only scenario currently in the game because it is, again, early access. But you will start with your 4 survivors right after the crash. You have your speed controls, pause, play, fast forward, super fast forward, all that good stuff. Take a pause when you first land, get your bearings, check out your surroundings, see how everyone's doing. In this scenario, Krista has a bit of a meltdown going on. Not a shock, they just crashed onto an alien planet, sure. Check out your activities, whether you want to do simple priorities, you can certainly do that, or you go into your advanced priorities with your numbering systems. You want to set that early to make sure that your survivors are working on a specific task for that first day or two. You can absolutely do that. If you want to set their priorities straight away, you can do that too. I'm sure as we gain more experience and more understanding of the game mechanics, that makes it a little bit easier maybe early on to really set more advanced priorities. So you can do that, whether it's harvesting and cutting, for early wood and sticks because you want to make some early, quick, easy shelters for your folks to hang out in at night and stuff like that. Whatever. You can do that. The next thing, you have your schedule here. You can set your folks to work, sleep, relax, and free time scheduling. Early in the game, probably not going to be worried as much about like relaxation. I wanted to make sure they at least still got time to sleep, because what you don't want is them to be exhausted, and of course that can have negative effects on them over time. So it's up to you how you really want to push them early on. I gave them a little bit of sleep time. If you want to stagger them so some people are awake while some people are working, you can certainly do that. Your anything time at least gives them an opportunity to eat some food and whatnot. So there you go. There's like a quick way to set up right at the start of the game. Take a look at your surroundings. You can move your camera around, take a look at things, check out the available materials, whether you need to cut down some trees, slice up some bushes, get those sticks, stuff like that. You can absolutely do that. And you can set these while you're still paused, and then it will go into the queue for your survivors. So once we hit play, you can see that they start working on that. Kana is observing. That is a way for you to learn about the materials in the environment you've landed in. Observing this peculiar bush, what is it? What are we going to get out of it? Is it edible? Is it something that will help us produce other materials? So she, again, having someone with high intellect, high researchability, there you go. They're going to eat these emergency rations that you have out of your ship for the first couple days at the very least. So you don't need to worry about like scavenging food straight away. But what you do want, somewhere to sleep. You have an easy, quick solution in the beginning. You can just kind of create these little lay down areas. It doesn't require anything, you're not building beds or anything like that. So what I learned, now this is me looking back on it, cutting down trees in the beginning wasn't really necessary. Hay and sticks will allow you to quickly build some early shelters, like literally the first few hours of your stranded scenario, you could have those up. So I actually, looking back now, I've learned some things, but we're back in the daytime. Here's the shelters. We could have done that if we had had the hay and sticks straight away. Wood ended up not being a necessity on that first night, but that's okay. You live and you learn. So now you can see in the background, Ken is cutting up some hay. We've already got the sticks from the day before. And we're going to set up some shelters and stuff like that. Now, if you place something down with a material in the way, you can see that's automatically going to put that in a queue for removal. So someone will come along and cut that. Throw down a table, some chairs, stuff like that. You'll notice when you're looking at your characters, like their happiness levels, their complaints, they want somewhere to sit while they're eating. Very basic way to gain a few happiness points. Bam, throw that down, throw down a fire, get some warmth, get some light. Right here, we're putting down, we got a workbench, we got a research bench. These are really just simple early game things that you can place down in that first day or two. It'll allow you to start researching some technologies, allow you to start building some like real basic rudimentary weapons, stuff like that. Not a problem. And you can see here, now they're happy. They can at least have somewhere to sit, somewhere a little warm, some light. They can eat their dinners. So real basic stuff you can set to kind of help them be a little bit happier early on. You'll see behind their portraits, those like kind of blue and black marks behind their portrait blue represents happiness. The higher that blue mark is, the better. If it's more black than blue, now you're getting into not great territory for happiness. Here's where we kind of set some relaxation time. This will allow them to kind of regenerate, refresh a little bit during the day. Great research. There's so much stuff you can research. I love this technology tree. There's all kinds of stuff. Certain people can have inspirational insights that will unlock other options or allow you, or it'll boost the current research, stuff like that. So you can queue some stuff up. Take a look at how you want to start your game. Whether you want metal refinement for like some early metal alloys, or do you want to go right to electrical grids? Do you want to be able to do building construction right away? It's really up to you. Just keep in mind, the game will continue to progress, which includes like aggressive alien creatures that are coming after your base, or the winter's coming up. You need food store. There's all kinds of things to consider when you are looking at this, things that you'll learn as you play. My first few attempts at this game were terrible, and now and that includes this particular scenario right here that we're running was not my best start. Discoveries, like we talked about, when they're researching or observing stuff in the wild, you'll get information about what it was they researched. So we got this skin bark right here, which you can turn into leather, and of course leather can be used for like clothing and stuff like that. Great resource to have. What's great, when you finish observing fauna and flora, you'll learn again what you can use it, whether it's food or materials that you get out of it for your plants, for your flora. You can start planting them and farming them once you observe them, which is great. Here we go. We're putting down our base supports for a building. To avoid any sort of weird, uneven terrain, you can put down those basic floorings and then place your buildings on top. So as you can see here, we've actually got a few buildings going. You can see here we've got solar panels, we've got a battery, we've got power lines. So we've kind of got to the point now where we're able to produce some power. We got some refrigerators going, a great way to preserve your food. Now, in the wintertime, you wouldn't even need them. You could literally just leave a window open and allow the wintertime to preserve your food for you without wasting power, if power is a concern. But right now, you can see that it's about 67 degrees, 70 degrees inside, 50 outside. That's not going to help preserve food for everyone. It's certainly not going to freeze the food. And you can see here we've got some local creatures coming in, and they're eating all these berry bushes, which that's not a big deal. They're not bothering us. So if we really wanted to, we could close the fence and keep anything from wandering in. I didn't really consider that at the time, but here we are. You can see we do have a little bit of our own little farm plot right there for some we've got some plants that we're growing there. We're creating some more workbench areas, stuff like that. Eventually, what you'd want to do, of course, is to really begin moving that stuff inside. You don't want to be working, especially come the winter time and stuff. So you can see these are the aggressive animals. I kind of talked about how that's something that happens as the game progresses. So here, what you do is select your fighters. You can draft them, which gives you ultimate control over what they're doing. So if you want to just put them into a certain position, like a defensive position, you could draft them to do that. If you want to go out and just meet them head on, you can, the creatures head on, you can absolutely do that as well. It's a good way to keep them from getting too close to your base, especially if you don't have any defense systems set up yet, or you're worried about other people getting injured. Go out there and pretty much kite them. Get them just inside your range of your best firearm and pick them off one at a time. Now, we were lucky when we were salvaging the spaceship that Ken here found a sniper rifle, which helps us significantly in situations like this, because you can look at how many he managed to kill before they even got to him. Then you want to make sure, have a melee weapon as well, have that spear or something so that they get too close. They can fight them without trying to use a sniper rifle, while they're in their face. It doesn't make sense. So, better equipment for your fighters, if they're dealing with that. Give them give them firearms, give them melee weapons. Here you can kind of see, looking at some of their social opinions and stuff like that. I believe Ken had bloodlust, so him killing stuff makes him happy, which is an interesting trait. But it makes him a great fighter because he's out here killing these crazy alien beetle things and he's having a good time. And as you can see, these aggressive creatures, they actually killed some of the passive critters that are walking around too. So you will see that live interaction between different critters. Here, risk of a meltdown, Krista. So you want to check and see like what do they need? What are they having problems with? And make sure you address those before they have these meltdowns. If they have a meltdown, they'll do something uncontrollable like binge eat or wander off. Eventually they'll be okay again and they'll get a bonus to their happiness for having, I guess, gone through this meltdown and come out on the other side. But it does take them away from their tasks, and you definitely wouldn't want that going on while they're fighting or anything like that. You can create queues in your stoves, your workshops, stuff like that. It'll show you the material. You can decide if you want an X amount made or if you want them to continue making something until you have a certain amount in stock. Different options right there. So go ahead and queue stuff up if you have the materials. You can see we've got some tool tips on the side, the meltdown, and they're also telling us that 3 of our folks are unarmed. They have no weapons, so something to consider. And these critters, they're still kind of wandering around. Once in a while, these normally passive critters might just whack a fence post or something because it's in their way. Generally, they're not any sort of significant problem. This guy seems to be he wants to get to these berries and is apparently having trouble getting to it. So his way in to these berry farms is to break down the fence. Kind of annoying. It is what it is, but hey, they want to get the food, They're not going to attack your folks dead on, but it could potentially happen if there's a herd of them and you do get aggressive. They could turn on you. Generally, they'll just run away. And you know what? That's an opportunity right there. Butcher them, get some meat out of them, stuff like that. Get some leather out of them, whatnot. You can see that we have some storage shelves that we've put inside those little lean-tos, and then we have our stockpiles for large crafting materials were on those squares that are outside the fencing. So you can decide where to put different materials. Again, you want to put your food in the refrigerators. Check those boxes off on the other storage so that way they're not dumping food outside on those shelving units, stuff like that. So you do have good flexibility about who can eat what can be stored where, who's doing what with their priorities. So plenty of flexibility to make your folks do what you need them to do. And if you do need to draft them or have them do specific tasks, you can still control them in that way as well. we're getting into, you can see in the top left, we're in the fall time, heading into winter. So now's a great time to do some storing up of food and stuff for the winter time like that. So make sure you're planning ahead in this game because it absolutely matters. But you know, part of that comes down to your research, like really making sure you kind of have a good research queue going on. Make sure you're really going towards something that you know you need for that first winter, especially. There are certain things that look fun, but are probably not necessary. Like, do you need like an automated gun turret in that first year? Probably not. Do you need electricity for the winter time? More, I would say more yes and no. You could still use like fireplaces and like wood heating, but having lights that are powered, you know, not having to waste materials on the furnaces, like your sticks and your wood. To me, you know, yes, you could do that, but I would prefer to have electricity over, let's say, you know, automated turrets or the ability to fully salvage ships. If you don't need that yet, if you don't need the materials, then, you know, look towards something else. So consider all that before you get to winter time. You'll see that like Ken right there has reached physical 6. So as they complete these tasks, they will gain experience. They will gain more levels. There are certain activities that are locked behind a certain level. Like there's only certain things you can cook. For example, if your cooking ability is under, you know, or if it's like level 1, like you're going to only be able to cook like real simple things. So consider when you are building your initial survivors group, your skills and things that are important to you. As you can see here, we have gotten a 5th survivor at this point. So you will find more people as you play the game. You send out expeditions. You can find people. Sometimes they'll find you. And so there you go, guys. This is Stranded Alien Dawn, early access on Steam. I have played so much of this already, and I absolutely love it. You can see this is my current playthrough right here. Absolutely loving this game. It is so much fun. So there you go, guys. Go out there, check it out, enjoy it like I did, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.